Welcome back to another clay tutorial. Today we are going to create a miniature Super Nintendo with removable games. After I created the miniature GameCube, I've been really wanting to create some more systems. I have a few more in mind, but I would also like you guys to comment and let me know what systems are your favorite, which ones you would like me to create. I really wouldn't mind creating more of these, it's a lot of fun. So we need some gray clay here. I know gray comes in packs, but I'm never able to find it. I always have to mix my own gray, but I guess that's nice because I had a lot of black and white to work with. Just like the GameCube, I want to go all out with the details on this. I want to make it look as much like the actual system as I possibly can. Now this one was a little bit harder than the GameCube because for the GameCube I actually had the physical system to look at, and that was much easier to find the details. For this one I kind of had to look through Google Images for a while to try to find, side and back and bottom images of it, which there isn't very many of. So it was a lot more difficult to find exact pictures of what I needed, but I think that I got it pieced together pretty well. This part here we're digging out is going to be where the ejection button is, where you push it down to pop out the cartridges. We just need to smooth it out pretty nice, and we'll stick in this dark gray piece. And we'll use our tools to smooth that out. I know it looks pretty messy, but I'll clean it up a bit off of the video. Here we have some more details on the top. I think this is kind of just cosmetic, honestly. A lot of the details on the systems are. But this part here we're cutting out is where the cartridge is going to go into. I thought it was pretty cool cutting it out with these layers of clay pulling out. It was actually a lot easier. So here on the front we're going to have where you plug in the controllers. On these older systems you can only play 2-player instead of the newer ones 4-player or even more. Now I've noticed this type of detail on pretty much every system I was looking at. It's this seam going around the whole thing. I think probably they have the system in multiple different pieces and put it together and screw it together like that or something. Here we have the power light. Now we can start working on some more of the details, this time on the bottom. So the detail on the bottom is very strange. It sort of looks like a stamp. It has this weird wavy dented in pattern. So I'm using the side part of my dotting tool for this, and it worked out really well. So now we need some more of this sculpey translucent liquid clay. And this works just the same as glue, except after you bake it, it hardens in the same way as the clay does, so it bonds things really, really well where you can't normally blend them together. Now this, I think, is sort of like on the GameCube, it's the venting system. I'm not entirely sure on that though. This part we're cutting out of the back is going to be where you plug all of your things in to connect it to the TV. Now with all these things I'm putting in the back, I honestly don't know what plugs into what spot. I'm just going off of the reference pictures. But I matched it to the pictures, so it should be pretty good. These purple pieces here are, well, they're not really buttons, but they're more so sliders, but this is what you do to turn on the system and to also reset the system. Now we're going to start creating the controller. Honestly, the controllers are my favorite part about creating these miniature systems. There's just so much extra detail in them for such a tiny little piece. But these ones are a lot easier to create than the GameCube controller was. There's just a lot less going on with this one. This part here we're denting out is going to be where the buttons go. The 4 main buttons, A, B, X, and Y. And we'll put them on top of these lighter gray spots, but first we're going to go on the other side and create the D-pad. This seems like it's on every single Nintendo system. There we go, now we can work on the select and start button. And we have on the back L and R, and I wanted to draw out the L and R on it, just give it that extra detail. I thought it would have been nice above start and select to be able to write start and select, but it was just way too tiny, and I feel like if I painted it, I would have just messed it up. Here we have the hole that's going to be where you attach the cord. Now we have the paper cutouts. I know in the GameCube one, I didn't have a link in the description because I didn't save the file or anything like that. But for this one, I've saved the file, and you can find the link in the description of this video, and it will take you to where you can print out this sheet that I have here. So you'll have to work with the games I have, but I've picked some of the more popular games that people like. And when you print it out, it's going to be in this exact same scale that I'm using in the video, so I resized it for you and everything. Now we're making the cartridge. We're almost done with it, actually. We just have a few more details. The reason I'm using wild guns for my game is honestly, it's one of my favorite games for the Super Nintendo, and recently I also got it on the Switch. It's sort of a remade version. Anyway, let's get everything on the tray, and our Super Nintendo is ready to get baked. After baking, we're going to have to use some glue to work on our paper details. First, we have the main picture of the cartridge on the front there, and now we're going to have on the back the warning label. On the system, we have the Super Nintendo, and on the back, this call number if you have any problems. Here's some more of that cord that I used on the GameCube. And all of these details for the paper stuff, that's all in the link in the description of this video. We can glue together the controller and glue it onto the system. And here it is, guys, the Super Nintendo. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video or found it helpful. If you did, don't forget to leave a like and maybe even consider subscribing, and I will see you all in the next one.